Hello everyone, my name is Cetra, and today I will be making a Darkest Dungeon Butcher Circus tier list. I will try to make this short, simple, and, as accurate as possible. So let's get right into it. So the first character, the Abomination, what are his strengths? Well, he's a very versatile character. He can do anything from any position except in position 4. He has a very strong self-heal, he has a very nice stunning ability, he also has a riposte. His slam causes a lot of stress, he's overall like a really good character. And I think for now I'm going to put him into the A tier. I might change characters around after I, organize this whole thing up. But I think that the A-bomb is like really one of the best. Also, it's going to matter which character is closer to the left side, so closer to the left side would be stronger than closer to the right side, in my opinion, that is. Okay, the Antiquarian, what is she good for? Well, her AoE attack, the Festering Vapors, is extremely powerful. It's the best AoE ability in the game, actually, alongside with Hound's Harry, I guess, but does a bit more damage if you have the Materia Pestis. She's good for using the finisher and then doing that. She also has rejuvenating vapors. You can run dodge trinkets on her. Like she's really powerful. She also has take cover, which makes her quite tanky from time to time and difficult to kill. She has a good 1v4 potential. I'd say that she's overall a pretty decent stress character, and I'll put her in A tier for now. The Arbalest, she's completely broken. Like aimed shot, even without the mark, is gonna do a lot of damage. She has a heal, which is already good for a character, like having a direct heal. That matters a lot in the Circus. But it cures bleed on top, which is just amazing. Even if she gets displaced, which she usually doesn't because she has a very high move resist of 50%, even if she gets pulled to position 2 or position 1, she can bola, which does damage to 2 characters, pushes her back and pushes those enemy characters back, all in one ability. It's absolutely insane, and the bola could actually be good for you if you knock I don't know, a Jester out of position 2 to position 3. It's insane. And her Illuminating Flare is also really strong. You can clear stuns, you can clear marks, you can clear debuffs, dazes. She's just absolutely amazing, which is why she's going into S tier. Just no questions asked, she's in S tier. So let's see, the Bounty Hunter. I feel like the Bounty Hunter is the unsung hero of Mark teams and many other teams. This might be actually my favorite character, or at least my second favorite. I mean, he has a very reliable pull, he has a very good pull chance trinket, the grappling mitts. Gives him 25% extra move chance, 8 accuracy. Having the finisher and using finish him, it's just so much pressure on the enemy team. They really have to heal if you have a bounty hunter on your team. You can also drop caltrops, then you can use the pulls. Even if you're in, it doesn't matter which position you're in, you're always slightly useful. Unless you're in position 4, which means you can only pull, but even then it's okay. He's a must-have for every Mark team. He's also a decent character for hybrid teams and that sort of stuff. So I'd say he's an S tier, but he might be near the end of S tier because he's what makes teams work together. The Arbalest on her own, she's really strong, but an Arbalest with a bounty hunter, that's amazing. So we'll see where I put him near the end. The Crusader, I'd say he's a really strong character. He has an extremely powerful stun. He has a heal that heals another character and himself. That's really good. His Holy Lance can deal a lot of damage if he gets pushed to positions 3 and 4, which usually you don't want it to happen, but if it does, you can Holy Lance and move forward. So it's a positional move that also does a lot of damage, quite like the Arbalest, so that's really nice. And yeah, his stun is all around great. He also has Bulwark of Light, which you can use from time to time, giving you 20% protection to all your characters. That can come in very handy against some teams, like an Arbalest without the Piercing Coral. Yeah, that could be very handy. Also, something I forgot to say about the Arbalest is that she also has 5% protection, which is enough to reduce damage from time to time. She's just completely insane. She's definitely staying up there. The Crusader also has, what's it called? that move, Rally to the Flame, which removes stress and horror, like, it's usually not a good thing to bring, but sometimes it could work for you. I actually have a video on it where I think a player used it very, very well against me. Not really my favorite move to use, but I guess it's alright. I'd say he's either bottom S tier or top A tier. I think I'm going to put him on top of A tier for now. We'll see where he goes from there. So, the Flagellant. The Flagellant is obviously, like, you just look at the Flagellant and like, okay, he's very tough to kill. That's already a great attribute for the Butcher's Circus. Like, he's a really good character. He has Exsanguinates, he has Redeems. When he has a higher death blow resist, he just has a lot of stuff going for him. He has Reign of Sorrows, which is going to do insane damage to the enemy backline with damage over time. If you put Hemlock on him, he can do bleeds and blights to both enemy characters on the backline. It's just absolutely crazy how much pressure he can do. He is a bit reliant on accuracy buffs though, so either you run the Crown of Thorns on him, which makes you a bit less tanky, but gives you more accuracy, or you have a Jester to synergize with him, just to make sure he doesn't miss those Exsanguinates, because the accuracy is just horrible. But overall, he is a really good character, because those heals you can do, it's just absolutely mad. You can heal a character, a friend of yours, like, imagine you have a Crusader and a Flagellant. If they're both getting like knocked down to low HP, the Flagellant can just put them back up to full HP in one move using a Redeem. It's absolutely crazy. And if you have the Gauntlet of Absolution, you pretty much become nearly immune to stress. It's almost a ticket, like a free ticket, just, okay, fuck stress teams. That's pretty much what you can say. And the heals become even better. But overall, even with all of this, I'd say that sometimes he's not as useful during the early game, which is where you want characters to be useful. I've been trying to use him in teams, like in mark teams, stun teams, that sort of stuff, and he's just not as useful during the early to mid game. He comes in like really clutch late and against stress teams, but you know, sometimes he can get pressure down early. It's rare, but it's true. He can get like taken out by round 2 if you're not careful with him, because his HP pool isn't very big. So if you get stunned and then you get like shot by an Arbalest or something and you can't Exsanguinate in time, you know, that will happen sometimes. Or, you know, after you use Exsanguinate, you're going to be dazed, so you won't be able to use Exsanguinate very well the next round. You'll have to go last, unless you clear the daze with an Arbalest or something. So I'd say that all in all, he might not be going into S tier. He'll probably just stay in A tier. I'd say here, potentially. We'll see where he goes from there. So the Grave Robber, she has a few different ways of playing. So you can either make her a dodge tank, which is always very good. I mean, I think every time you play the Grave Robber, you want her to have very high dodge. You know, she has an ability for it, though some people don't really like that ability. Toxin Trickery, that is, yeah. It can also cure Caltrops, which, you know, I guess it could come in handy. And there's pretty much 2 ways you can play her. You can either play her as a damage dealer, or you can play her as a damage over time stress dealer. Now, I'd say that using her as damage over time stress is much better, like using the Panic Darts. Because Panic Darts is like a really good ability. It's almost a confirmed chance every time to blight your opponent, and it adds a lot of like immediate pressure. If you get hit by Panic Darts, you're going down in a few turns pretty much. The pressure is insane, the crit chance is also insanely high, and if the difference is, if you go and use her like for lunges or even thrown daggers, I mean, that's gonna work against teams like, I don't know, other damage teams that are like quite squishy, having like a Jester or something. But if you go against anything like, I don't know, like a classic stress team, it's not gonna be very useful. If the enemy like just uses protection with the Crusader or anything like that, she's just gonna get destroyed. Which is why I think that she's much better as a Panic Darts abuser. She's good for damage over time and stress teams even, putting her in the 4th position so you can't get pulled because you can just Shadow Fade, which is pretty much a free move for you that, you know, next round you're gonna do way more damage. So overall, I'd say that she's a really decent character, and I will put her in high B tier. That's where I think she belongs. She might be an A tier, I don't know though. She's a bit difficult to use. I'll put her in high B. So the Hellion, she's a stinker. She really is a stinker. There's a few ways you can play her. You can either use her just to spam breakthrough, like from position 4 and have Hemlock, which, you know, I guess it's not too bad if you don't have another character to use for that AoE. You can use her to spam, what's it called, Barbaric Yop at the front, which could like disrupt some stuns from the Crusader or something like that. I mean, that could be very useful, and the stress is also quite nice, so I definitely say that's her best use. It's just putting her in front and spamming Barbaric Yop with like something like some protection trinkets that also add a bit more stress. You could even consider running Hemlock, because Barbaric Yop, even though it's a scream, it's also melee ability, which means you can use it to apply Hemlock on both characters. I don't know how it makes sense, but that's just the way it is. And yeah, you can also use her to get Bleed Out, and to use Bleed Out and get like some really powerful crits. But I really don't think that's very reliable, because her accuracy, her base accuracy is garbage, like just straight up garbage. Unless you're using Barbaric Yop, you will really need some accuracy bonuses. And the chance of getting a crit, I mean, even if you get the crit with the Bleed Out, yeah, it's gonna do a lot of damage, but the Arbalest can do the same thing way more reliably. So I'd say that the Hellion overall is in C tier, I think. Yeah, it's just because of the Barbaric Yop. That's like the one good move I have for her, honestly. So the Highwayman, he has the best riposte in the game. Obviously, you can go riposte and then you can go vendetta, and most times I play against the Highwayman, I just feel like I'm playing against 3 characters, and I have to avoid hitting that one character, or I'm just gonna get riposte for my entire HP. That's how it feels like most of the time. So, like, playing against the Highwayman, you just need to make sure that he doesn't... I mean, if you're playing with the Highwayman, unless the enemy is stupid and just straight up walks into your riposte and like AoEs into it, and you have like all the riposte bonuses with the parrying dagger and all that stuff, unless that happens, he's probably not going to be extremely useful. You could use him in like a Queen's Guard kind of team and buff him up with the Plague Doctor even. I don't know, I guess that could work. But overall, like, Grapeshot Blast has very low accuracy. His point blank shot is decent, but I don't think like it's the best ability in the game. So overall, like, he's good, but he's not great, honestly. He's very easy to stun most of the time. I don't think he's that good or that useful. So I'm going to put him into, well, I'd say like bottom B tier or top of C tier, so I'm gonna put him in there. I think even the Hellion might be better than him, I don't know. I really don't like him most of the time. He can come in really clutch if you know, if you can get lucky with the rock, paper, scissors and like just go against 2 AoE characters, like, yeah, he's gonna be clutch. But most of the time, he's not that good, honestly. So, the Houndmaster. One of my favorite characters. Hound's Harry is the best AoE stress ability, like just for causing stress, using Attack Whistle and the Crimson Hook. Like, it's absolutely insane. He also has a guard, one of the only 2 characters who have a guard, the Houndmaster and the Man-at-Arms. He also has a stun ability, which can come in close if he's in position 1 and 2, but yeah, that's very rare. His Lick Wounds is also decent, so he has a self-heal, which is already a great thing in the Circus, because you can stall a bit longer. And yeah, even though Hound's Harry has very low accuracy, the Attack Whistle gives him 12 accuracy, which makes it really cool. So, all in all, you know, he's good for damage over time teams, he's good for stress teams, and you could even use him as a mark damage dealer instead of like the Arbalest, or on the same time as the Arbalest, you know, you can use them both, which I guess is not too bad. Hound's Rush is a decent ability, but I would not replace the Arbalest with the Houndmaster. It's just definitely not happening. I'd say he's above the Antiquarian and behind the Abon. Yeah. That's where I'm gonna put him. So the Jester, really good character, where I'm gonna put him, I don't know yet. So he has very many good abilities. Dark Snap bypasses guard and has a bit more chance to cause death blows, so very nice ability, like his bread and butter pretty much. Harvest has low accuracy but can cause bleeds and can be really strong with Hammock as well. But let's get to the real abilities that he has. He has the Battle Ballad, which gives 20 accuracy buff for the entire match to all your characters. Like, that's just insane. If you pair him up with a character that has bad accuracy, like the Flagellant or the Crusader with his stuns, they miss sometimes as well. Like, he's just gonna make it really, really good. He really helps. Like, if you go against a dodge team or a team that has high dodge, using the Battle Ballad is pretty much gonna ensure a win, almost. So it's definitely amazing. And the Finale is just able to bypass Death's Door, and the Finale could be very useful. So if you're playing the Jester, there's usually 3 characters that you want to Finale. These characters are the other Jester, obviously, because many times there's 2 Jesters in the match. It's quite a common thing to happen. You either want to Finale that other Jester, the Shieldbreaker because of her clutch abilities, I'll talk about that later, or the Flagellant before he can get his healing going, like with the X-Sanks and Redeem. So the Finale is definitely like the best move, and after that he can still have the Dirk Stab, and if you have the finisher he can still be very useful. So you could also use solo on him just to make sure that you get into position 1, to make sure that you can Finale and you're not gonna like get ramparted by the Man-at-Arms and pushed back to position 2 or something like that. You know, you could also use solo instead of maybe Harvest, or if you're feeling quirky, maybe instead of Battle Ballad, but I don't think that's a very good move in my opinion. So overall, yeah, his stress heal in this game is kind of weird. I really don't recommend going for it, because if you go against something that isn't stressed, then you're screwed, obviously, and you just lose. So overall, where is the Jester going? Yeah, I forgot to mention, he also has a very high dodge, but his base HP is horrible. His stun resist is horrible. His resistances overall just suck, except for his debuff resist. That's not too bad. I think that he's going into probably a low S tier. Yeah, probably the lowest character in S tier. And why is that? I'd say that if you can control him, he becomes a bit less useful. I'd say he can be, you know, replaced by other characters if you trust your RNG enough. Battle Ballad is useful, but if you have good RNG, it's not gonna matter. His dodge is useful, but if you have bad RNG, it's not gonna matter. So I just say that he's a good character, but he could, you know, he could be better. I'm gonna put him on top of A tier, actually. Yeah, I don't think he's as useful as these two. But yeah, definitely a character to watch out for, and one of the best, obviously. So the Leper. What do we say about the Leper? He's very strong, you know, very high base damage. He has 50% stun resist and 60% move resist, which is very high, but it could be higher using the exotic snuff, which most of the time you want to use, because if you get pushed as the Leper, you're just done for. You can't do anything. The match is simply lost. If there's an A-bomb and he just slams you, it's pretty much over if you have the Leper. Yeah, that can happen. His base accuracy is quite low, but it doesn't really matter because most of the time you use Revenge and are able to do a lot of damage. You can pair him with the Plague Doctor and make him do like insane amounts of damage, even without crits, like using Hue to knock out both enemy characters on position 1 and 2 at the same time, like from full HP to 0. You can straight up just do that. You can also use Purge, which is very useful against Flagellants from time to time. Or you could use Leper as a stress dealer, like just make him really tanky with Withstand and then use Intimidate. That could work as well, though I don't really recommend it. So overall, I'd say that his biggest weakness isn't actually getting pushed, but if your backline gets pulled. So let's just imagine this. You have a position 1 Leper, you have a position 2, like, I don't know, like a Crusader, and in position 3 you have like a Bounty Hunter. So if your Bounty Hunter gets pulled, next round, if you pull the position 4, it's over for your Leper, because the Leper will be in position 3 and the Crusader will be in position 4, meaning that you have to move the Leper to position 2, and then you have to move the Crusader, but then you're just gonna get your backline pulled again, and the game is completely done for, you don't have a chance. So he gets completely dominated by like the Occultist and A-Bomb if they can use their move abilities, which they definitely should, they're amazing. So, but he has a lot of high damage, so I definitely say that he's going into B tier, just below the Grave Robber. His self-heal is also absolutely insane, so he's just going there. The Man-at-Arms has Bellow, he has Bolster. You know, Bellow is like amazing, obviously, you really need it. He has the best guard in the game, better than the Doggy, I would say. He has Bellow, and he also has a decent riposte with the riposte shield. I did a video on that like some time ago. So I'd say that overall he's a very good character, and he's just, along with the other stress characters, I'd say above the Houndmaster, but below the A-Bomb. Bellow, definitely a very good ability. Yeah, he's just really tanky, and he's like a must-have if you're playing stress. The Musketeer, she's a diet Arbalest, but that doesn't mean that she's bad. She's just as strong as the Arbalest when it comes to the aim shot and the buckshot and all that. She's only weaker because her base heal doesn't cure bleed, which sucks, and because her illuminating flare, like I can't remember the name that she has for her flare ability, is kind of anti-stress and gives you a bit of accuracy, but it's definitely not as useful as the Arbalest. She also has less 10% bleed resist and plus 10% blight resist, which, I mean, it could make a difference, but I don't know. I guess it's a bit worse than the Arbalest, because 20% blight resist isn't gonna get you anywhere. So I'd say she's an Arbalest but weaker, so I would put her here, actually, like just in the bottom of A tier, because she's still extremely powerful, but not having the abilities that make the Arbalest like just completely broken. You know, she's still very strong, but she's not completely broken. I'd say this is where the Arbalest should be at, honestly. So yeah, I'm just gonna put her there. The Occultist, he's definitely a very powerful character. He has pulls, he has the tentacles with the Abyssal Artillery, he has a heal, which is amazing. Sometimes it's amazing. You can heal very much, or you can heal not very much at all. His pull is nice. You can also use him as a mark character, you know, that could be decent. So overall, I'd say that he's in, well, he's with these two, I would say probably just a bit worse than them. I mean, the problem is that he's very squishy. That's just the big issue. You can also use him with the stealth ability to make one of your other stress characters better. I'd say that he's like just below the Grave Robber, honestly. Even though his pull can be like really useful, you know. But I'd say that overall he's probably below the Grave Robber. So the Plague Doctor, probably the worst character we have here. I mean, maybe even better than the Highwayman, but her Blight ability, like the Plague Grenade, is really strong. She also has a heal, which cures bleeds and blights, that's good. Emboldening Vapors, very strong for buffing up other characters that you want like to be super strong, like the Leper. So that's definitely very good, but she's extremely squishy, she has no dodge, she has pretty much no resistances except for blight, but even then she sometimes gets blighted. So she's overall like not a very good character. Even though I love her, she's the queen, and I'm going to put her, you know, below the Highwayman, honestly. So the Shieldbreaker, what is her strength? She has a pull, she has an absolute anti-guard, you can't guard against her. So that's great. But she has a lot of high dodge as well, and she has Serpent Sway, which can really stall a match, like, to the limit. So, and she has, like, pretty nice blight abilities and all that, so I'd say she's, like, a decent character, close to the Flagellant, but a bit below him, so probably, like, here, I would say. Actually, maybe a bit better than the Musketeer, yeah. The Vestal, she's not very good. I'd say that she's, like, probably here. No, she has to be better than the Hellion, honestly. Yeah, she's probably there because, you know, her heals are great, she has the best stun in the game, but it does 0 damage, pretty much. Her heals are amazing, but overall she's just not a very good character, I would say. Not a character I'd really recommend using most of the time. you know, like stuns are good, but if you're not doing any damage, it's not doing too much because it's wasting your turn and the enemy turn, but you know, you're wasting a turn. So I'd say that's my tier list. Yeah, so only 2 characters in S tier. Yeah, I'd say that's actually quite fair. Yeah, they are the best characters, honestly. So that is my tier list. These characters are better than these characters. So don't forget that. That's just, in my opinion, that's how it works. So thank you everyone for watching, and I hope this is useful. Goodbye.